All right, everybody. Welcome back to our Tri-State Trends podcast. I got my man Matthew Ruzicka with me, who's cold crushing it along 5-Star Financial. These guys have reset the pace on what it looks like for these lock-ins and doing things and crushing premium in a short amount of time, a few days in a month. So I'd love to see what's happening, Matt. I'd love to hear from you about it. Before we get into anything, can you give everyone a backdrop of kind of where you're coming from, how you found FFL, and first and foremost, how are you doing today, my guy?
Yeah, I'll answer that later half first. So it's a beautiful day. We're above ground. God gave us another day. We can't be ungrateful for too much more.
Yes,
So
sir.
it makes it a good one. Me, I came from, it's not like I grew up in middle class America. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was basically an entrepreneur with him, running the books and everything behind him. So I grew up in a world of always seeing an office, being at home, always being entranced in work, um, and in grinding. So I always had like a sales background. I never, worked at fast food or anything growing up. I first gig, 15 years old, selling slinging suits at Men's Warehouse.
Huh.
Went to college. Yeah, yeah. So I was well dressed there for a good bit of the years.
How many years were you at Men's Warehouse?
Not too long, just about a year and a half, 2 years max. I was working in between school and then on summer breaks.
Nice.
So it was fun, but we were renting tuxedos out. So that was my kind of first dabble in sales. Um, Ever since then, I've done door to door internships, college. I've done, B2B. I sold energy and in college also for about 3 years during an internship. And then that was actually my first job out of college, selling commercial energy, electric, natural gas, pounding the phones. So I've always had kind of a sales background. That's me coming up. And how I found FFL, went to school with David Starr, Drew Jones, if you know him or if you've had him on here before. Um, that's how I came to FFL. August of last year, I was getting out of the corporate space. I just hated having someone tapping their foot waiting on me 8 to 5, working for someone else. I'd rather, for me, it's easier to have more flexibility, do a little bit more batch work, and still get where I want to go. So I was frustrated. I'd been I'm a triple major, and they always say, "Hey, it's really easy for you to get jobs." I was getting I was getting best offers on the table for how elite I was supposed to be with these pieces of paper that we paid so much money for. I was getting 45, 50,000 a year total, and I'm thinking to myself, is that all I'm worth? Uh, Eventually, I got kicked or denied enough job offers that I called Drew, bank accounts looking low, and I said, buddy, I don't know what you're doing, because he had told me he was done insurance a month or two before that, and I went, no, I will not sell insurance. Like I've done door to door, and to me at
No,
that
I
time,
will not.
insurance
I absolutely
insurance
will
to me in
not
my
do that.
mind, it was the same thing as the used car salesman at the time, the same thing. And it was just for no reason. I never had any bad quarrels or anything. It was just a stereotype. But I broke down and eventually said, Andy Elliott says you either come in here broke or broken. I was both. So I called Drew up one night, said, whatever you're doing, I don't care, get me signed up. 4 days later, I finished my course, took my exam, and I was writing within 2 weeks.
It's so crazy. Think about this, man. Think about this. No, I will absolutely not sell insurance. Think about that. Think about how strong of a statement that is.
Yeah.
And then whatever you're doing, I need to do it. There's so much space,
Yeah.
Matthew, in
It's talking out both
between.
sides of my mouth for sure.
Well, but there's a something happened, in between those two statements. How much
Yeah.
time were those two statements apart?
So I was, to give you like the exact timeline, I stopped working in the corporate world end of May last year, was doing job hunts. I probably went through 5 interviews or 5 different companies, multiple rounds, getting to the end just to go, wow, this sucks.
Hmm.
So I would say Drew called me in early July, went another 2 3 weeks, working around, and I had one job that I was incredibly hopeful of. It was a nice big fat salary. It was environmental pest management, so I'm not out there spraying bugs, but I was just going around knocking on sister companies to apartment complexes and saying, "Hey, we'll do this." Which it was an incredibly cushy job, and I
Mm-hmm.
think my complacency was pushing me towards that. But I mean, I'm glad I got. You know, it's funny to say. the dude who beat me turned down the job, and then they went back and begged him to take it, and then instead of taking me. So that was kind of like the final
Wow.
slap in the face, which made me turn around and honestly, I think killed my ego and said, hey, like it's do or die time. You know what I mean? I got to drop the ego. I have to try something because I'm sinking in quicksand right now.
Now, David was having success, and I guess you kept seeing her. Did he keep calling you? Did he keep texting you?
So David brought in Drew,
Drew,
and
okay.
Drew and I were really close. David and I just knew each other as acquaintances. Like,
Oh,
it's not like we hung out maybe. I mean, I wouldn't even call it hanging out. We crossed paths in college 4 or 5 times. We
got
knew
it.
of each other, but Drew and I were really close. So Drew was a cell phone fixer, still is, and David was very good about breaking his phone in college. So that's how they knew each other. Drew just mentioned though, hey, I'm doing this insurance thing. Like, dude, I went out and helped 2 families this week. Like, the bank account's looking good. And hey, not to mention I'm working with David Starr. You remember him from school? And I was like, oh yeah. So that was it all happened kind of perfectly. I said yes. Literally 2 days later, Matt Borsch, Mike, and Mindy were all coming into town for a business BMO meeting,
Yeah.
and everything kind of aligned. I went to that, and it was off to the races.
Wow. So he didn't like text you a lot or call you a lot. You guys, the conversations were fluid through your friendship. Yes.
Yep, yep. Drew definitely called me a lot, which that's yeah. He was keeping my feet to the fire. But once I met him, he was definitely sending his little seed drops of text or showing me, hey, look how many families I helped today, just to fuel the fire.
And why not, dude? Why not? How do you feel about the decision now?
Best thing I've ever made in my life, but also the hardest. But good things aren't easy. You know what I mean? So it's given me the flexibility. I tell people there's no other product out there that you can take a $5 lead and go make $1,000 off it. Not even drug dealers get that margin. So there's nothing else out there like it. You're helping people protect themselves and getting paid to do it. On top of that, you're in control of everything that you can be.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, so that's pretty awesome. Now, in reference to your journey as a personal producer, learning how to do this, telesales, kind of hosting and making these lock-ins happen. Talk about the power of the lock-in, and then, talk about the power of telesales.
Yeah, it's funny. The telesales power just hit me in the face today. So, I mean, the lock-ins are huge. Without them, Zoom is great. In person's even better if you can get into an office near you. Just getting yourself around the people who are in the field, making it happen every single day is going to make you that much better. Um, I mean, I can attest for the short time I did have a team. When they sat down day one, Thursday on whatever day the lock-in goes through till Sunday, by the time Saturday morning rolled around, it sounded like they had been running 1,000 appointments. I mean, it was complete night and day what you pick up being that close to everyone and kind of not distracting yourself, cutting off trimming off all the fat and just focusing on that. It really takes you, leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. I would say if you're an agent and you've been in here for 6 months and been to 0 lock-ins, and you're an agent who's been here for 2 months and been to 1 lock-in, you're,
Wow.
if not farther ahead,
Wow.
or right at that same stride.
That's a bold statement, but you're convicted by it. So that's a powerful statement.
I mean, there's countless people that have never done this before, and they come in and make a sale. And I mean, people don't believe us, but it's the rule of 25%. 100% out of 100% of people, 25 will always say no, 25 will always say yes. The other 50 skill based. So if you can at least be there for the 25, which means working,
right,
and simply coming day after day, it's going to reward you.
Wow. That's so good. What is your schedule like on a day-to-day basis, and how are you managing? What are you doing for leads?
It's ever changing. I mean, I think that's the name of the game for everyone. For me, I did. You asked about telesales. Telesales was a game changer. I mean, the amount of money that you save, the amount of time that you save, the amount of stress that you take off yourself by not running out in the field. Don't get me wrong. I still run in person because it's fun getting back out there once you're good at this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it bites you in the butt. Like this morning, Went out to a sweet old lady, 8 a.m. I was excited. I haven't ran an 8 a.m. in person in a minute. Drive out there. Daughter meets me at the door. Says, "Hey, she's got dementia. I mean, she doesn't even like remember that you're coming." I'm like, "Darn. Okay, sorry. See ya." And then and she has plenty of insurance. I have plenty of other families to get to. And then the second one I go to, it's a no show. So I mean, it's that's the whole point, I think, of why I went to telesales, because I was in the beginning losing money on gas, losing money on leads, losing money on time. But telesales was a massive game changer for me. My schedule, I mean, when I did start, I was doing the 6 days a week, 8 to 8, simply because I wanted to get to that 100 sits as fast as possible, which I did about in a month and a half. And then ever since then, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
So some people can do it. David's a beast. He can do 6, 7 days a week. I can't. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a mini Tibbs. I can't produce 10, 15 in 2 days like she does. That's wizardry. But I'm still trying to find my sweet spot. So for me, what I've been working is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, grinding out really hard. I have plenty of other business ventures going on, but I feel as if I'm in more control because I'm giving more time to everything. So in those 4 days, I'm not worrying about the family business, or I'm not worrying about this or that. I'm fully insurance for 4 days. And to me, that helps me lock in more, and I think help more families without, straining yourself.
Absolutely. Now, are you doing call to close, or are you doing appointments?
I do it all. I did recently transition to one call close. It makes me laugh. I don't know how for 6, 7 months I did appointments. I still do set appointments, don't get me wrong, but I'm calling you to one call close. And if I can't, then I set the appointment if I have to. So for me, that's been a game changer, because, tons of people pick up the first time compared to if you ever try and get them on a meeting again. And you just have that many more at bats, is how I see it. So currently I do one call closing, setting appointments. I run in person. I mean, I have every lead type you can think of. I had ACE, I have Mail Pro, Mail House, BPLs, Facebook leads. Like, I do it all.
Wow. I mean, that's obviously contributing to your success. The ability to stay in the lead game like that. What would you say right now is one of your biggest challenges, Matt?
I mean, if I'm wanting to be honest with myself, it's me. One of my biggest challenges is going against me. It's the mindset. I mean, this business is so fully ingrained with what you tell yourself up here,
Right.
that you can be running flawless appointments. You can be running the amount of appointments you need. And if you're off up here, then people are going to feel it on the other end. And you're going to wonder, why do I have commission breath, or why am I not closing anything? So for me, I think my biggest challenge is just keeping myself in check. You have those good weeks. Don't get too big of an ego. You have a bad week. Don't think that you can't sell insurance.
Right.
So I think my biggest challenge is trying to stay consistent and steady.
Yeah, I think everybody deals with that. I've been in this business a long time. I've struggled with that myself plenty, and I've other producers that have. And it's like, you go 2 or 3, sales in a row without making the sale. You think you forgot how to. You think you're going to lose your house. Like,
Yeah, no, you're not kidding. That's where my brain takes me to. You know what I mean? I don't even have kids. I'm like, dude, my kids are homeless.
Yeah. It's an actual natural, mindset for competitive folks. I mean, the key is staying in the game, right? Like you have to stay in the game. It's not like this thought is going to take you out for life. It's just this thing that's going on right now. But if you stay positive, hunker down, you're going to bounce back. You're going to make another sale again. You will not to go out of business. So we've all struggled with that before, Matt. And so I just want to encourage you that that's super normal. But you're team building as well. So what are you doing? What are some things you're doing to bring on agents and help them understand, how to be successful in our business?
Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure that out too. If I had a clear cut answer, I'd be sitting with the Rolls Royce behind me. But I mean, what I'm trying to do, and I think what every upline, or I hope every upline does here, is just trying to make the process faster, the learning curve quicker for every person behind them. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make mistakes, and everyone's going to make mistakes. Like my first couple weeks out here, I purposefully wanted to sound stupid because I wanted to get humbled as fast as possible. Because as soon as you get humbled, that's when you start learning, and that's when your eyes open. That's when you start listening, and when you start listening, that's when you actually start making sales. So I wanted to get humbled as fast as possible. For me, when new agents come in, I'm really focusing on attaching their goals, what they want out of this. You can't. I mean, for me, saying, "Oh, I want, um, to make $100,000 a year." Sure, that sounds great, but that doesn't mean anything to me. What
Right.
does that 100,000 mean? Does that mean you can donate to a church or a charity of your choice? Does that mean you can take you and your extended family on a vacation? Does that mean you can help others in need? I have to map out those things
Got it.
that come from the money
The why.
to see it. And I try and see whether that person is a monetary or whether they are like a visual person, is like what I would call myself. So instantly, and it might sound like a waste of time, but I think this business is much more than can you dial, can you be consistent, can you hit the phones. I think this business is showing that you care about each other, whether
Mm,
that's client or teammate. And if you can help someone win in more than one area of their life, inherently they're going to work better.
that's
That's
great.
one. That's the one thing I learned from my corporate environment. They were really, really good at taking care of you and made you feel really hunky dory. And I don't want to make people be complacent, but I want them to know that there's support, and that if they put their minds to it, or they follow these rules and work out, take care of yourself, eat right, make time for living life, like you're going to be fine.
That's huge, and that's true. You're gonna be fine. But do the things that matter day in and day out, so that you can start to have some of these ticker marks and knock some of these things down for success. When you look at 2023 and you look at the rest of the year, how do you want to finish out?
Well, with combining forces here, I have no reason but to finish with that red jacket, as well as I want to get our team. We have right now about 6 active writing agents.
Nice,
Want to get that to 20 by the end of the year, as well
nice.
as hitting 100. So logo by December.
I love it, man. Well, thank you for jumping on with us for our Trends podcast.
Yeah,
And I'm sure we're going to see you on here very soon again, man. Thank you for what you're doing, and congratulations on your success, brother.
yeah, appreciate you. Have a good rest of the day. Don't be flying to Hawaii or anything with us with that shirt on. You're giving me the vacation vibes with it.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Take care.